we're just in the process of finishing up a house that we got off a lead off the contractor last year, and work has been really really good and thick, and he's had to turn some down
Yeah.
so it's been really good in that respect. One of the easiest leads just from the get go when I rang her, she's like, "Oh yeah, why not? All right, I'll do that," and then just stemmed on from there. Yeah,
Oh, that's super cool.
yeah.
I love it.
So one of those perfect timing kind of things. Yeah, she was ready and I rang, and yeah, it all
Yeah.
just kind of like went bang, bang, bang. So it was brilliant.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
that's been a really easy process.
Okay, so you've just heard from Alana. That's Chris's wife from Crystillery Builders. We were working with them last year and around getting some new builds through for them directly. And what ended up happening, I just wanted to run you through the process and how that ended up looking. So they had a lead come through, which ultimately fitted the qualifying criteria, came through to them. They spoke with them, moved them through the process nice and easy. But this is generally the model that people will come through in its simplistic form. So no matter where people come from, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, wherever, this one in particular came from Google Ads. We would then need to get them to convert via one mechanism. And so in this case, it was an online estimate. This process works extremely well to get a lot of people through. We just need to filter them through the process to exclude as many as possible. So that's why it's really important to have this qualification step in place. And I'll show you what that is in just a second. But basically, what happened in this case, lead came through, searched something in Google, they came through to an online estimate where they could get a ballpark price on what their project might cost. The system has gone through what they filled out and decided are they qualified to speak with or not. If they weren't qualified, it would have pushed them through to an automatic email follow-up, which follows them up over a 12-month period, because generally we get people into three buckets. They're a good fit and they're ready to do something now. So in which case we pick up the phone or they book a meeting and we speak with them, have a consultation or a site visit. The second thing that might happen is they're a good fit but they're not ready, in which case we want to put them into a follow-up sequence. So over time, when they are ready, then they come back to you because you've been providing value, which happens quite often, and there's a really big money return period in around that 9-month mark where people have come through, become a lead and weren't ready, and they basically start replying to emails and things saying, hey, can we now catch up, we're now ready to do something. The third way is basically they're no good, they're rubbish, we chuck them in the bin, and that's fine. So we want to filter out as many as possible through this qualification process. And then what we want to do is show them a pre-sale page or an offer. And so people coming through here are basically looking for what you do, and this piece here hooks them in. It doesn't do any sales of the lead to sort of position them or anything like that. At the moment you're just one of many. So this page here positions you as one person that can help them particularly, and it sort of explains the process and positions you really well. From there they get the opportunity to book into your calendar, so it just pops up into your Google Calendar or whichever you're using, and that way you know when to call them and gives you the context and around what they're looking for. So this lead essentially came through. They came through from Google Ads, so here's the exact search term that they came through. So it's worked its way all the way through the process, and so it was a good one to loop back on. So she actually typed in per square meter building costs NZ. So very cost related query here. Now what ended up happening here is they click through, they come through to a page which looks like this, okay, and this is more of a demo page which I'll show you in just a second, and they run through a series of questions. Those questions here are basically summarized on this page here. Now this is actually just a small build that they're looking for. So she had separated with her husband, she was looking to just build a place of her own from the financial situation that they'd been in. Ended up in around about the 400,000 mark ballpark for the job, but basically single story home, postcode, etc, etc. Now things to notice in here is we get some info about what they're looking for. In this case you can tell it is quite a small place, fridge, bathrooms, bedrooms, etc. But that's not really the point of this exercise. That gives them enough information that makes the estimate feel real for them. What we're looking at from this point of view is the qualification information. And so level of quality, economy. In a typical circumstance, we match it up with what they're expecting here and then economy, and they would typically be a bad fit. Okay, because most people have dreams of a project that's this good, and they only have a budget that's much further down from that. In this case, she's looking for something small, compact, and economy, and so in which case that becomes a little bit more doable, and that's fine. This also typically comes through most of them as standard, and a few people choose premium. Legal owner, and this one can be changed around as well to be, have you currently got a piece of land or are you still looking? When you get started, this is the primary one we're looking at, is timing. So anyone that's looking to get started soon, 3 to 6 months, we want to try and move into a meeting as soon as possible. Some people say just gathering info, and that's great because we want to filter those people out and just put them on the email sequence that I mentioned earlier. At this point, has no plans, no design or architect chosen, does have finance, an estimated budget between 250 and 400, which is actually where it ended up, and the estimate was about 380, I think it was, that it came through. So the system will generate an estimate for them based off the pricing setup that we have, which ultimately they can decide whether it's within their budget or not. Again, we match it up from their range of budget to what the estimate has come out as, and if it's close, again, another green check mark. If they are too far off, so let's say that the estimate came back at 550, we know that this person's expectations are not going to be reality. So we can either approach them and say that and explain the situation, or obviously we can disqualify them pretty quickly. Either way, you haven't had to waste 3 hours of your time going back and forwards. And so basically they came through here, through the ads, came through to the page, filled out this form. Subsequently, client got in touch, processed them through the process, and this is sort of what it looks like as far as a general overview. People go through and choose what they're looking for in a home, level of quality, etc. But we're really focused on these questions here in and around the qualification, right? So at this point here, people are more likely to continue on. If you had a big form on the page which had all of this stuff on it, then no one would fill it out. But because it's multi-step and it's very easy, then people naturally are able to tap along here. Okay, here's the one I mentioned. If they choose that, they get disqualified. But from here, go to the pre-sale page. Pre-sales, why you're the expert. Subsequently, they get in touch and everything's under control there. So just a quick case study on how that happened, how that came through, and ultimately ended up in a $400,000 new build. Thanks.